From woo-woo to wow. Bridging the gap between the mystical and the scientific.
The journey from out there to in here.
Join me, Dr. Patrick.
And me, Dr. Rita, as we make the seeming intangible
tangible.
This show will expand your mind.
Open your heart.
And make you say, wow! Aloha, everyone.
Aloha. I am Dr. Patrick, and this is Dr. Rita.
Yeah, we're from Center for Spiritual Living, Kaua'i, the Institute of Magnificence. This is our sixth podcast, and it's titled From Woo Woo to Wow Wow. But today, our title is Turning Our Political Climate from Woo Woo to Wow Wow.
Oh.
Or maybe it's more woo woo. Wow. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I think there might be a little sterner woo woo.
I know, right? Okay, it's not an easy time, right?
No, it's something we thought would be a great idea to bring up at this time as we're going through what we're going through in our world. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not really going through any hard times. And all I would ask is, I'm not quite sure what planet you would be from, but whatever it is, I want some of it, because this country and our world is really going through a huge transformation right now, and we all are being forced or not being forced to get on our toes, right?
Right. And you can't, unless you've got your head under a bushel or you're just not paying attention, it's very intense. And the question is, how do we as conscious beings navigate our way through this political and upheaval in our world? And there's a lot of war and a lot of genocide and all kinds of things happening, and sometimes we can feel kind of helpless and kind of lost, and we're just trying to just kind of bring some clarity to it today. Right, Patrick?
And we work a lot with, with our center, we work a lot with people in our private sessions, and we're constantly in that field. It's just, that's not the only thing that's going on, but it is a very big part of it, right?
Right, and it's affecting us.
And it's affecting us. And some of it, we don't even know that it is, but there is tension. And so we're going to look today at how to work with it, not fight against it or become it, and be able to go, how are we going to really deal with this? Because I know for myself, it's really, it has a big part of my day if I let it. Once again, we're all about choice. And this teaching of science of mind, all the great mystics, all the great leaders have said, we have to take a look at ourselves first, and we are really at a place where we have to take a really good look at ourselves as we look out.
Right. And, for myself, I see a lot of things even come across Facebook, if you're ever on Facebook or any of the social media. I don't spend a lot of time on it, but when I do, I'll see something and I'll go, is that true or is it not true? Or you'll hear something, just coming across the news, NPR or whatever, and you'll be saying, is that true? Is it true? And I think we're at a point where we don't know what's true and what's not true. And so how do you deal with that? Like, how do you deal with that idea of, is it true or is it not true? And what do I do about it? So for myself, I try to go to the source of whatever it is, because if I go to the source, there are ways to find out if it's true or not true. But what's happening to some people, I think, is they're just seeing something and they're just panicking right away. Like something came across our Facebook, and I'm not going to mention what it is, but something came across about somebody we knew, and the first thing we said is, that can't be true.
That can't be true. Somebody hacked their thing.
Well, it ended up being true, but we had to do some investigating to find out that. But that's the kind of like where
we've
we're
come
at.
to that.
We've come to that where we don't trust anything.
And so if we're not trusting out there, how are we trusting in here in our own individual lives? That's the big question. Because if we can't just blanket, we have no trust in anything, or we'll never raise ourselves up out of whatever's going on in our personal lives and what's going on in our country. Right. Because we are, I was thinking the other day that I was never really political growing up, at all. And I regret some of it. I not regret it, but I feel like I could have been more involved. But now I realize how much I don't know and how much educating myself I have to do in order to deal with what we are dealing with now. And we're dealing with some heavy stuff.
Right. You have to do your research. You can't, we're past the time where we can just put our head under like a whatever, put our head under a, what is it, bushel, whatever. Put your head in the sand, whatever.
The sand, bad.
We have to know what's going on, not to the point of like stressing ourselves out every day, but to the point of just having a conscious idea of what's going on and then learning how to maneuver our way through it consciously. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to know everything that's going on, but I do want to know, what I need to know. And the only way I can do that is I have to listen, but I also have to know when to shut it off because, remember when we had that horrible tragedy with
World Trade
World
Center,
Trade Center. Thank you. I lost the
which
word,
is September.
which is coming up tomorrow, our anniversary of that. And how they just played the same thing of those planes crashing into the building every time you turned on the media. That was the visual that we had. And so that's what I mean. We can overdose on media too. It's one thing to just find out what's going on and then figure out what your part in is and what you can do than it is to just like constantly be watching it and looking for the next drop of whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just
So,
completely
so,
repeats itself and repeats itself. And
so how do you check in with what's true? For me, I just check into my inner wisdom and I just say, what's mine to do here? Because I can't do everything. I just can't. I can do it. I can vote. I can make, if I see somebody being hurt, one of my friends that happen to be gay or something, and somebody says something about gay people, I can say something. I can say, well, that's not what I think, blah, 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 whatever the answer is. But standing up for what you believe, I think is really important, but not coming from a place of anger, from a place of wisdom and a place of compassion and a place of understanding to try to understand the other person's point of view and then you know, then give whatever yours is and not have like a big argument over it.
well, no, I agree with what you're saying, but I also agree to disagree because about the anger part. A lot of people that are watching right now are saying, I am pissed off. And and I'm telling you that sometimes with a lot of people, sometimes it takes anger, that anger to thrust them forward.
That's true.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about you fighting anger with anger is just two people yelling at each other and nothing's going to come out of it.
And we've all
But
been there,
and we've
right?
all been there, at least I have. But I realize now that it's really important to honor the emotions that are going on in our lives. Sometimes I get just so overwhelmed, and I see it in the face of people. I was somewhere at a gathering, and I could just see in their face this total this disgust that was causing such personal pain and to be able to, for me, especially in our position, because we talk to a lot of people and everybody has a different opinion. Whether or not who you voted for, we are very, let me just put it this way, from in our world, my world, there's a lot of division going on. And for me, I'm looking at more about instead of constantly saying, how did they do that? And how is that happening? And how is this happening? What I'm realizing is that I want to talk about what are we for? I
Right.
am for decency. I am for not taking people off the streets and throwing them into sweeping people off the streets, no matter of color, transgender, whatever. It's not about that particular group, except that now our world has come to a very interesting place. Now we're all being swept. So if you
Well, I have
don't,
a friend in Canada that said she can't come to the US anymore because her friends were all getting like
right,
detained and they were just normal citizens just
right.
coming
So
to like, and now they're not coming here because they don't want to go through that.
right.
Who
So
wants to
we
go
can
through
sit
that?
here and say this is what happened and why are they doing this and that's we probably should get into that. But the real thing is what are you for? We are for human decency, not people being taken out of their homes. We are not for people losing their jobs or anything else. Now I haven't mentioned any administration. So if this shoe fits, what you're wearing, then you'll know that. But what I'm saying is I don't have to talk about political parties. I don't have to talk about anything. I'm talking about democracy and what I believe in this world.
Right,
And I believe in fairness for all. We are all, and this is that part of, I call it passion, other people call it anger. But no, passion. We are all immigrants. I'm going to repeat that. And if you're only tuning in for this and then you leave, I just want you to leave with the fact that you're an immigrant. I have never met anyone in my world in the United States of America that's not an immigrant because we don't come there. And then if you want to get all spiritual, we don't even come from that. We come from the cosmos of everything. So I think we
it's
just better
true.
go to the part of what do you stand for? What and what will, oh, one more. What will you stand for?
Right,
You go, oh, I don't stand for that. I know, I don't either. But how much am I allowing to be and stand for without saying I'm not willing to participate at all in that behavior,
right. So just like
oh,
also
did you feel all that
I know,
emotion?
right?
Woof, 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 woof.
Just reflect on how you're feeling in all of
Yes,
this.
yes.
And there's something we just want to share because we all feel things. And, I know for myself, sometimes I get like so depressed, or sometimes I get like just sad, or then I get angry and I get a roller coaster of emotions. And I have to like kind of really look and see what whose
You're
emotions those
right.
are.
Hmm.
Because there's something called race consciousness. There's something called the collective consciousness. And we have to kind of think about whether we're picking up everything, all the anger and everything that's going on, or whether it's really truly coming from
Right.
us.
Or
And
or triggering.
yeah, we get to choose. So there's like a little exercise you could do. You could just let's say you're feeling a really strong emotion. You could notice it, right? And then you could just breathe and pause and name whatever it is you're feeling, and then choose. Do you want to keep this or not? Is this serving me right now? And
Mm,
then you get to
mm,
release it, because no matter which way we look at it, we are at choice. We are at choice. And just like
mm.
Patrick said, it's better, I believe, and we believe, to be what you're for instead of what you're against. You're going to
Right,
have a much better time with this upheaval if you are there for what you're for, not for what you're against, not the person you're against, the political figure, the issue that you're against, but what are you for? And those
right.
things you mentioned, kindness, compassion, truth, honesty, all these values that we have as human beings, that's what we're for, right?
It's
So
an
yeah,
interesting thing someone mentioned the other day about since that since the work that we do is in every Sunday we deliver a message and they were saying, well, it's easy, because I talk a lot about, well, you don't know, but I'm telling you, I talk a lot about self-love because I believe that's where it starts. And we've talked about this before. But what am I, they said, well, how about those? Are you able to love them, whoever them are, those people? I do not agree and love anything that they are doing or how they're behaving. What I think it means is can we, like the World Trade Center, do you remember when times, I mean, that was 24 years ago, as a matter of fact, 24 years
it's hard
ago.
to believe.
And so the reason I'm bringing it up is because I remember when it happened, and I felt so embraced by the United States of America and from other countries, our allies that are not here. And I felt so, people were leaving their homes and driving to New York to help. And I'll be really honest with you. We have lost a lot of the very same thing that we pronounced and we actually did on September 11th, 24 years ago, that coming together, no division was there. Now we may have divided after we got home. We do that in disasters. We put the things, then we go back. But for that moment, we have not had that. We didn't have it during COVID, and we didn't have it during many times that are happening right now, where I feel that the world comes together to help at a time like this. And What do you do with division? Oh, and I was thinking when you mentioned that, don't forget the word division because that's what you're going to talk about. I was talking about when you walk into a room and you say, "Oh my God, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife." That's the consciousness we're talking about, collective consciousness. I can be in this regular, just waking up mood, facing the day, and I'll feel this sadness or this thing of or anxiety.
Well,
And that's because what our world is transmitting frequency.
right, and we're all entangled. That's the
Yes,
quantum
quantum
principle,
principle.
entanglement, which has been proven by the quantum science and the research done in that field. So it's true. We are all connected. So it makes sense. Everything's energy, that when all this stuff is going on, we're going to feel it. We're going to feel it. We're going to feel what's happening in Gaza. We can't help it because
Absolutely.
we are connected to those people. Yeah. So that's where we have to just
I
kind
mean,
of divide our, not divide ourselves, but find our own energy and ground ourselves is very important because we're not doing any good to anybody if
right,
we're not grounded. If we don't take that pause, ground ourselves and decide what's ours to keep and what's ours not to keep.
right,
And because if we're coming from a higher consciousness of love and compassion and empathy and all of those good things, and we're acting from that place, then we're going to be a better service. At
right.
least that's what I believe. But it's
So,
not, I'm
yeah.
not saying it's easy to do because
But
it's
it's
easy to get
necessary.
triggered,
There's
but
no
it's
way,
necessary.
no one really gets to. Remember when we used to get to ride the fence?
Right.
Like, I don't really want to make a decision about that, and I don't know about that, and I don't know about that. Those days, in my opinion, my observation, I should say, those days are over. We don't get to sit on the fence post anymore about what's going on in our world without our butts really getting sore from that fence. So I think that for me, let's talk a little bit about frequency for all of you who understand that. There's a higher frequency and there's a lower frequency. If we continue to talk about what's not working in this world right now, you would see slowly but surely our bodies would react to it. Our quantum energy that from the field starts to just mirror that for us. So, but the more you talk about what's mine to do, and sometimes it comes off as anger, or I just call it you're very clear about what you want. And what you want right now, even if you want peace, it can come out very clear. I am for peace. But it doesn't have to be where we get daisies and we go back to the 60s for a moment and just go,
Wouldn't be so
wouldn't
bad.
be so bad and play our guitars. But we can't do that because we need to right now do that
It's great.
and bring us peace and then go out into our world from that place. And you see it. I'm not going to mention names. We see politicians, leaders, powerful people. We're leaders in the spiritual community. And when you see people that are poised with their clarity, because I get very passionate, as you probably have watched a few times, and so I get excitable, as they say. But there's something about being poised in clarity.
Yeah. I was just thinking that about reframing this whole thing
Uh,
because, in our philosophy, we do believe that beyond it all, there has to be something good happening.
right,
And I
purposeful.
don't, purposeful, yeah, maybe good's not a good word, but what are we getting out of it? And
Hmm.
I think we're learning how to be more grounded in ourselves. We're learning how to be resilient. We're learning how to trust our inner wisdom like we never have before because we can't trust the outside sources. So we
Hmm.
have to
Hmm.
turn within
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and then we're also learning how to embody the frequency that we want to embody. So all
Hmm.
these things that we're being challenged with, there is something good happening for us within that. And then as we make those changes in ourselves, then that's felt out into the field too. So I feel like I'm not a type of person who's going to be hopeless or think that this is the end and doomsday and, and the apocalypse is here. I just can't go there. But
Right,
what I can go to is what can what can I be more of to
right,
be of assistance? What can I be more of? What can you be more of? What can you
right.
do? We're all creatives. We're all creative beings. There's more like I'm relying a lot with my creativity right now. as a way to maneuver my way through what I'm feeling about
Mm,
what's going on. So I turn to my creativity and I use it to uplift people. I use it to uplift myself first.
all right.
So I think we have to find those tools for ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah, it's come that time that we have to, take a good look at ourselves and be honest with ourselves, not put ourselves down. But this reminds me a lot of during COVID. There was this, except that we're free to walk around, but are we really free? I mean, that's the question we always ask. And so I try not to use our current climate, political climate, as my excuse for not living my life.
right,
Because what a lot of times we do, and people did it with COVID, when COVID's over, then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Other people said, "Wow, I got a break here. I think I'll be take out my entrepreneur hat and build a company." And I
right,
think that that's really where I'm at right now. It's like it seems like there's not a lot I can do that I would like to do except to be the best me that I can be, take that out into the world, and then we can and then be an example because I said yesterday in a men's group that I was in, I would like to tell you that I'm shocked that we are still at war and that we are shocked. I am shocked, I will be honest with you, at the current state of affairs of our country. I am stunned and I am shocked, but I am not shocked at some of this behavior, this violence, this stuff that's coming up. And this is why it starts right here.
right,
And if I can't get along with my neighbors, if I can't get along, we can't even get through a Thanksgiving dinner with a family without there being some upset or somebody's not invited or he's gay, so don't bring him to the table or da ba da boo ba da boo. It can go on, and there's nobody watching this, I am sure, that has not experienced
oh yeah,
that,
we've all
right?
have.
So what and if we're treating each other like crap in on a microcosm level, is it surprising that on the macrocosm that it would be
It's not
all of this is
surprising.
like one of those sewage that bursted and it's coming up and we can either bathe in the sewage or we can actually start pouring clear water.
Right.
Hello.
I don't like, I don't think this is surprising, Patrick. I really
No,
don't.
I mean it
And
is,
it's
but
a lot of this stuff has been buried for months and
yes,
years,
centuries,
centuries, and we think we've been over it. And then, something happens, somebody comes into power or whatever that brings it all to the surface like it's something new. It's not something new. And
no,
if we look at our history, we can see where it was its continual thing. But now's the opportunity. We are have do have an
right,
opportunity in every moment to make new choices.
right,
And the more of
exactly,
us that make those new choices and the more of us that decide that we don't want that, we want this, and live it in our microcosm, like you
right.
just said, and work out our problems, work out our conflicts with those people closest to us, which we try to
And
do, and and then let that spread out. Because yeah, when I see people arguing and neighbors and stuff going on in the neighborhood, and it's awful, like you said, we can't be surprised that it's in the
right.
macrocosm because we are the macrocosm. We're all, we are the universe. We are the consciousness of the planet. So it makes
So I
sense.
think that I wrote down just what you had said. It's nothing new. No, it's nothing new because it's been bubbling and surfacing up where we thought we had taken care of that. All we really did was just ignore it sometimes or bury it, or we thought because we made great strides, we thought that we were doing something good, but it may not be new, but it is something that we are being forced
To look at.
to look at and to deal with. And the ones that don't want that, there's a fleeing to other countries now to live and to do. And that's one option.
Yeah.
My option is I'd
Wherever
like
you are,
to,
there you
there
are.
you are. That's the thing.
So be
Wherever
careful.
you
I'd like to go to
go.
another country
Yeah,
too,
but I want to go because I want to go
well,
to
but,
another.
but like anytime you make a change, you better change what you want to change
Yes,
here and then make the change. And then
absolutely.
you'll be ready. Otherwise, it's just going to keep coming up because in your evolution, if you don't deal with stuff, it just comes back and it comes back and it comes back. And I think that's what we're seeing right now.
So
So
I think
we're
what
going to end this, but I want to end it on an uptone
Yeah,
somehow.
well, we can. We can end up by saying we've looked at it, we've put it out. Even in counseling sessions that I do, coaching sessions, I say let's bring it all up, put it on the table, let's look at it, let's complain about it, let's do whatever we want, and now let's kick it to the curb. That's
Right.
all we have to do. But to pretend that it doesn't, oh, it's not happening, it's not
Well,
happening,
and
it's not
take care of
happening,
ourselves, like
and
Patrick was
oh,
saying, with self-love. And don't wake up any morning and think you don't have to meditate or at least spend 10 minutes in quiet to align yourself. That's not
whatever
woo.
your
Whatever your thing is, if it's taking a walk in nature
running.
or running or just, listening to some music or sipping your coffee and just, taking a moment to breathe. It doesn't matter what it is, but take that moment for yourself, because that moment, don't just fling yourself out of bed and go to whatever you're going to,
Right,
because you need that alignment. We need that like steadiness in the morning that lines us
right.
up. I mean, I like to meditate, even if it's just 20 minutes, I'll make it
People
happen.
journal, they
Journal
do,
and
but
write and breathe and all of that. And, limit your media if you can, just limit it. Don't just say, if you're a media person, just limit yourself. Don't be going to bed with it. And,
right.
these are just all little tips that could help
Yeah.
yeah, to help your day. So,
So yeah, self-love is more than a spa.
yeah.
It's great to go to a spa, but after you leave the spa, you still have to find ways to, like you said, to be able to face everything that we are. And we are resilient. We are in our personal lives because we all still have personal lives, even with all of this going on. And that's why it's easy to sometimes avoid what's going on because we have so much of our world and there's so many people just worried about survival. The idea of, put your hand on your heart and and breathe, it's not their first go-to.
Right. It
But I
isn't.
do say that if you got a cat, put your cat up there. You got a dog, go up there. Get out in nature and let nature talk to us.
Yeah.
Because we live on an island, and I still haven't let nature talk to me in the way that I know that it can.
So
So,
let's take a moment to breathe for a minute, just to pause and to know that
ah,
right where we are, that all that energy, all that beautiful, amazing
mm,
source energy is. And whatever challenge we're up to, whatever's happening in our lives, we're up to it, or it wouldn't be here. So
absolutely.
just take a breath and love thyself. Just love thyself
Mm,
deeply and allow you to just, relax and take care of yourself. That's the
exactly.
most important thing.
And when no one's
So,
looking, you can go, I am lovable. I am lovable. I am lovable. Nobody has to even see you do it. That's the great part. If you're all
right.
embarrassed about it, I hear you. Just sneak away. I am lovable when you get in those times of being afraid or threatened.
Yeah.
So
So
net,
next
what's
time,
happening next week?
well, we're going to have the wow wow of inner child work.
Wow, we must.
The
Who's
wow
our guest?
wow. Our guest is Patrick Farron, who loves to do inner child work and knows how important it is. And he says it ain't woo woo. So join us
It
next
ain't woo
time.
woo, but it can
Join
be
us next
wow
time
wow.
and enjoy your life and enjoy life. That's the
Right.
most important thing.
Be
And
kind, my
remember
friend.
one thing about yourself that we know. What is
Oh,
that?
we always know it. You
You
are
are
magnificent.
magnificent.
We'll see you next time.
Have a
From
beautiful
woo woo
day.
to wow wow.
Yeah, have a beautiful day.
From woo woo to wow wow. Bridging the gap between the mystical and the scientific.
The journey from out there to in here.
Join me, Dr. Patrick.
And me, Dr. Rita, as we make the seeming intangible.
Tangible.
This show will expand your mind
Open your heart.
and make you say, wow.